Finally, spring has come to Maryland. What a beautiful day this is today. The trees are starting to pop out. My mom's azaleas are in full bloom. The dogwood trees are blooming. It's gorgeous. And it's the beginning of a new week. Here's where we left off last week. I'm anxious to show you what I've gotten done. First of all, these furring strips were a bear to put up. I couldn't find the ribs to attach them to. And the place I needed to attach to didn't jut out, it went in. So I had to add a board to even it out and give me something to attach the paneling to. So that whole furring strip thing took a lot longer than I thought it would, and it was a lot harder. But I did finally get enough up to do paneling. First, I made a paper template of the whole wall, and then use that to make a cardboard template of the lower panels first. Next, I traced it onto the actual paneling and then cut it out. And of course, I was in and out of the van, placing it to make sure I'd cut it right, making a few adjustments, but eventually I got it to where I was happy with it. So my back is hurting this morning, and I'm going to try to do things standing up. So this morning, I got 2 panels done, the lower panels, and I'm going to polyurethane these. I'm going to try, I've never used this before, triple thick it says, and cleans up with water, I think. Huh. I also got the lower panels traced and cut out and polyurethane. That was the end of day 9. The next challenge was to actually get those panels up on the wall by myself. This sucker is 6 feet long. I couldn't figure out how to hold it and screw it in place at the same time. I learned if I pre-drilled the hole, I could just about manage. It was a struggle, but I got both side upper panels on. So the next day, I added the lower panels. Piece of cake, huh? Because I didn't have to stand in and hold that damn wall up. Not perfect, but it's also not bad. So on to the last panel on the passenger side. Notice how well cut it was then, and then what happened when I put it up. There's a 2-inch gap. I didn't realize that on the passenger side, the upper wall was a couple inches higher up. The upper part of the driver's side has the electrical harness, and I was not going to drill into that. And when I was trying to fix this little place here, I slipped and cut myself. So that was the end of that day. Another less than perfect ending, but a new day dawns. So I said before that they don't make those nice shades that go around windows for vans for some reason. So I bought this snow shield, which is supposed to fit right into the van window, and I'm putting reflex on the back of it, and then I'll hook it up. Of course, today it's raining, so I won't be able to test it. But in the world of disappointing products, people swore by this super multi-purpose 3M adhesive. I have not found it to stick to anything yet. Every time I've used it, this damn thing falls off. So, look, I glued it, but it's going to pull right away. So I have to pull out the big gun, and at least I'm going to try. Go back and reinforce the outside with this power tack, which I use for jewelry, and it sticks really good. So if I haven't glued the thing shut, I'm going to do that this morning. I got to get moving. I'm going to put the ceiling up today. Okay, I'm going to let you watch me put this ceiling up. It might be amusing. Try not to cuss too much. First, I have to figure out which way it goes. And did I cut that hole on the right side or the wrong side? Oh my gosh. I had enough foresight this time to mark where the furring strips went so I could pre-drill the holes. There she goes. Oh yeah, I gotta put that wire through that hole first or I'll never find it. These drills get really heavy when you're holding them over your head for a while. My hand was shaking so much on this one I couldn't find the screw. One side done, now the other side, and I can let go of the darn thing. Where'd that screwdriver go now? This is the nice thing about having two drills. Oh, my shoes are always untied. All right, that's up. Yoo-hoo! Okay, I notched out the light. I only have it hooked up with one screw at the moment because, and I knew this, I was going to have a gap here. You notice how the wood, if this was sewing, I'd be in trouble, but the wood grain is going in the wrong direction. But that's because I was too cheap to go back to, and I was refused to go back to Lowe's. They're the only ones that have this paneling, and I'm not going back there, so I just used the rest of the board the way I could, and unfortunately the pieces I have left over aren't long enough, so I bought what Home Depot called birch, but it's a different color, and I'm just going to plaster that up. It's not high priority, but eventually there'll be molding across the top to hide the gaps. And supposedly you're supposed to allow gaps for movement. That's not why I did it, but because there isn't one right there. And I should take that down, but not gonna. If I had moved it over just a smidgen, but that's the problem with holding it up yourself and doing it, is you just can't, it was just like, get it up there. Okay, well, it's up, for better or worse. Not the neatest job in the world. I'm sure if you watch other videos, you go, oh, they did such a beautiful job. But I'm an old lady doing this by myself. So see how close I was? Do I dare run a circular saw up that seam to take off that little piece? I don't know. We'll see how brave I get. Well, I have walls and I have a ceiling. Now on to making the bed, but first I had to read the directions to the saw. So there are plans, and then there's the way life happens. I got the plywood in and then realized I would never be able to build it outside the van and put it in. I barely got that paneling in, so I had to build it from the bottom. Nothing like doing it the hard way, Sue. I put liquid nails on the long pieces first, attached it to the plywood, then added the crossbars and screwed it all together. Then I could add the legs, and it all worked out. I made a run to the grocery store for energy, and look, my Oreo box is short. There's a theme emerging. I wanted to show you my fancy workbench. A bunch of plastic boxes, and I just put my foot on the wood and cut.
Okay, it's done. Better or worse. I was very discouraged last night. But I think I've got it. I put some braces in all the corners. I don't know if this is right. I may have to... I was trying to put little L brackets there, but my other, it's pretty ugly. The other screwdriver battery isn't charged yet. I thought it was, but it wasn't. And I got and it's sturdy. I got up on it. I can't sit up straight, but I can sit up enough to bend my head and get down. I think that's going to be okay. That's one of my views. I don't like that. That's ugly, but I will put something over all that that's a little more appealing. And I got a 1x4 to cover up that gap. I'm going to paint it, and I'll paint the bed. It needs some color. I've got some. I'm just gonna keep this back here because this is. I didn't like it in the whole van because it's really slippery to walk on. But slippery will be a real advantage to pulling things in and out. So I'm gonna keep that. So here's the new windshield cover. I think it turned out really good. But look, I cut it when I was trimming. What a jerk. So I have to tape that. That'll just rip right off. But it's pretty easy to get on. And you can still open the doors, which I couldn't with the other one. You just snap it on the inside. Very clever. But it keeps the heat down. But it's still hot in here. And we're almost at the end of week 2. And I thought I had ruined everything, but I'm beginning to think maybe I hadn't. I showed you the bed. I haven't put the mattress on it yet. Getting in and out of here. It's interesting. Let me get in here. Oh my God. Every muscle in my body hurts. I started working on this panel, and fortunately I had 2 pieces of birch, the same birch left. And look how clever I am. I matched up the pattern. So it's going this way. I think the other one does too. I'll finish this evening. Or tomorrow morning. I have a little more to cut. And this should be cleaned up a little bit. I think that's where the 120 plug's gonna go. And then the refrigerator's here. But I also decided I'm gonna put a 12 volt back here too, because it runs on both. And the 12 volt, I would think, would draw less power. And also the nice thing about having a fridge here is I can plug it in. I have a cigarette lighter and a 12 volt outlet. So I can plug it in there when I'm driving and keep things cold. So I'm excited about that. I'm happy with the bed. I also built, so I built one of these on both sides. This is treated lumber. It's kind of wet. I don't know why that is. But, well, I swear to God, it fits in there. Or it will when I'm done. It did fit in there yesterday. I just have to force it in. I'm not going to do that right now. But the inverter will sit on here. And maybe a basket with all the little plugs and junk you need. Come on. I don't want to break it. Okay, it's staying there for now. And then I have another one for this side that'll go there. And that one I'll keep like my tent, because sometimes if it's really hot I might want to sleep outside. And there will be poles for my tarp contraption I'm sort of scheming in my head about, that I could slide in there and hold. I'm really trying to work on creating enough, because I have so much stuff and I do have to get rid of some of it, but I also need to find a place for things I need. And this might be too big. It might be better to have two smaller ones that sit on top of each other. I designed it so that this is 2 feet off the ground, and that seems high, but what the hell do I need this space up here for? It's not like I'm hanging out in bed all the time. So I'll just roll in and out, literally.
So let's roll on, and this is the end of week 2. Thanks for watching. And there's been almost 100 new subscribers this week, and your comments have been very encouraging. Thanks, everybody. I said, Mom, I have almost 100 new subscribers this week. That's crazy. She says, well, what does that get you? Personal satisfaction?